Olivia Rodrigo has emerged as the frontrunner for next year's Grammy Awards, with nominations in all four of the main categories. The 18-year-old is up for Best Album, Best New Artist, Record of the Year and Song of the Year. For Driver's License, she faces competition from Billie Eilish and Lil Nas X in all of those categories, except Best New Artist. ABBA also received their first ever Grammy nomination in the Record of the Year category. The Swedish band are recognized for their bittersweet comeback single, I Still Have Faith in You, which was released in September. Taylor Swift also picks up her second consecutive Album of the Year nomination, Forevermore. She won the award earlier this year for its companion album, Folklore. British musicians are relatively thin on the ground, but Ed Sheeran's Bad Habits is up for Song of the Year, while Arlo Parks and Glass Animals make the shortlist for Best New Artist. Coldplay also received their 36th Grammy nod for the single Higher Power, which is in the running for Best Pop Group Performance. Although relatively unknown in the UK, the jazz keyboardist Jon Batiste leads the nominations, with 11 in total, recognizing both his eclectic solo album We Are and the soundtrack to the Pixar film Soul. Justin Bieber, Doja Cat, and her follow with 8 nominations apiece. Billie Eilish and Olivia Rodrigo are close behind with 7.
Meanwhile, Korean pop sensation BTS miss out on the main categories, receiving a single nomination for pop duo group performance. The group's monster hit Butter, which spent 10 weeks at #1 in the US, is nominated alongside Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga's I Get a Kick Out of You, Justin Bieber's Lonely, Coldplay's Higher Power and Doja Cat's Kiss Me More. This year's ballot also makes Jay-Z the most nominated artist in Grammy history. He had been tied with legendary record producer Quincy Jones on 80, but surges ahead with 3 new nominations, including 2 in the Best Rap Song category, for collaborations with DMX and Kanye West. The nominees were announced at the Grammy Museum in Los Angeles on Tuesday morning, with help from Billie Eilish, Eurovision winners Måneskin and BTS themselves. With almost 22,000 songs and albums submitted for consideration, the shortlists in the main categories were expanded from 8 to 10 nominees for the first time. We're living in a time of extraordinary growth in music, explained Recording Academy CEO Harvey Mason, Jr. Over 60,000 songs a day are being released. With so much more music available, there's a lot more excellence to recognize and celebrate. The Grammys also made sweeping changes to their rules for 2022, after The Weeknd was controversially shut out of this year's awards. Organizers subsequently scrapped dozens of anonymous committees that had the ability to overrule votes in 72 of the 86 categories, allowing rank-and-file voters to choose the shortlists instead. Veiled in secrecy, the committees had been accused of vote rigging, favoritism and racism. Several high-profile artists including Drake, Frank Ocean and The Weeknd himself boycotted recent ceremonies in protest. The change seems to have boosted the chances of artists with broad appeal, such as Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga, whose duet's album Love for Sale generated 6 nominations. The so-called Big Four are the Grammys' most prestigious prizes. This year's field looks like this: Album of the Year, Song of the Year, Record of the Year, Best New Artist. Read more. The main nominees for the 2022 Grammy Awards. This time last year, Olivia Rodrigo was best known as the star of the Disney series High School Musical, the series. Then, in January, a few weeks before her 18th birthday, she released the lovelorn piano ballad Driver's License, which became an instant, but organic, global hit. The teenager followed it up with Sour, her debut album inspired by the same heartbreak. Showcasing her piercing, precise lyrics and precociously accomplished songwriting, it saw her hailed as pop's newest icon and hit #1 on both sides of the Atlantic. In its incessantly hooky choruses, Sour embraced Rodrigo's musical inspirations, from Taylor Swift to Paramore. Both artists later received writing credits for their influence, and therefore share her Album of the Year nomination. If Rodrigo sweeps all of the Big Four categories next January, she'll be only the 3rd person in history to do so, after Christopher Cross and Billie Eilish. But she faces stiff competition from Bruno Mars' impeccably crafted soul band Silk Sonic and, of course, from Swift herself. This year, the Grammys are actually recognizing a 13-month time period, from the 1st of September 2020 to the 30th of September 2021. Even so, that rules out some of pop's biggest new albums, including Adele's 30, Ed Sheeran's Equals and ABBA's Voyage. Also absent is The Weeknd, who is refusing to participate in the Grammys after being snubbed last year. Ariana Grande and Doja Cat also declined to submit their duets with the Staff Awards, in an apparent show of solidarity. But Kanye West didn't get the memo. His single Hurricane, which features The Weeknd and Lil Baby, made it onto the Best Melodic Rap Song shortlist. Taylor Swift also withheld her re-recorded version of Fearless from consideration. The original, released in 2008, is itself an Album of the Year winner. And Dua Lipa failed to submit her 4x platinum chart hit Levitating, apparently to avoid recognizing featured rapper DaBaby after he made homophobic comments earlier this year. Country star Morgan Wallen also failed to receive a nomination after being filmed using a racial slur earlier this year. The singer, whose album Dangerous is the biggest-selling country record of 2021, was ruled ineligible at the Academy of Country Music Awards, but had been allowed to enter the Grammys, only for voters to pass him over in favor of acts like Chris Stapleton and Sturgill Simpson. The Grammys are ostensibly decided by the 12,000 voting members of the Recording Academy. But for decades they were overseen by a shadowy group of secret committees, who narrowed down the top 20 finalists in each category to the final shortlist of between 5 and 8 nominees. Those committees were accused of corruption and insider dealing, most notably by ousted Recording Academy CEO Deborah Dutton, who said votes had been overruled and artists promoted onto shortlists without merit. It came to a head this time last year, when R&B singer The Weeknd was overlooked in the nominations list, despite his single Blinding Lights having become one of the best-selling songs of the century. "The Grammys remain corrupt," he tweeted in response. "You owe me, my fans, and the industry transparency."
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.